Well, hello and welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to talk about redlining the Pine Barrens. Yeah, you may be saying to yourself, what's he talking about? Well, particularly we're talking about Middle Island and Ridge and Coram and the food deserts that are occurring in that area. News 12 did a story on this. The Stop and Shop here, as you know, closed in this shopping center here. In the shopping center, as you know, the notorious shopping center, there's always people hanging around, usually in the shopping center, homeless people and stuff. And it's causing a lot of problems, obviously. So the Stop and Shop, they closed the Stop and Shop down over here. You know how bad this bus stop is. They closed the Stop and Shop down here. And right now there's no supermarket in Coram. As a result of that, there is no other supermarket that's close by. It's bad enough that Suffolk County Transit, which I have to make a video on this subject too, it's another thing, but they're putting a lot of minibuses on the 62. I just found out that the Coram Depot here is mostly minibuses now. So again, just more discrimination against this area. But let's play this story here from News 12 about Coram residents face shopping challenges after Stop and Shop closure. And in this story, we'll also find out that the King Kullen in Middle Island, which I always thought was considered Ridge, yeah, that's closing too.
Stop and Shop in Coram closed.
The whole area is
People in
going
the area
down.
Didn't have many food options, so they're taking matters into their own hands. News 12's
Good luck.
Liz Burke shows us how.
We have a food desert here now, right? So
It's a
Coram
food desert.
is the largest hamlet within the town of Brookhaven.
Ever since this Stop and Shop on Middle Country Road in Coram closed up shop in November, it's been a major inconvenience for many.
We're using more gasoline, we got to sit in traffic, so it's been a big impact.
I can imagine how hard it is for people to take the bus, because now they've got to take a ride on the 58, which, by the way, the 58 is getting very crowded and really needs half-hourly service. They have to go on the 58 either toward Riverhead or toward Selden to go to a supermarket, or the 55, which, again, only runs hourly, and I think they might even use minibuses on that, which was absolutely crazy. But let's...
For my family.
Rabbi Mendy Goldberg says the impact is felt by many congregation members.
They need to shop, go a little bit further, especially for seniors who relied on it. And the other fact that just doesn't look good for the neighborhood, brings down real estate prices.
Yeah,
While the future of this location
Coram is a redlined area.
is uncertain, the local civic association has launched a community survey to assess the need for a high-quality supermarket in Coram. The data will be used to attract a new grocery store to the area.
The people now who live in the greater Coram area face having to go to Selden, drive down to Stop and Shop in Farmingville.
The closest supermarket is this King Kullen in Middle Island, which is 3.5 miles away from the former Stop and Shop in Coram. But town officials tell us this grocery store will be closing too.
Yep.
The Brookhaven town supervisor says he's reaching out to contacts.
Everything's just
to get a
closing
new
up and getting
grocery
out of that
store
area.
in Coram.
Through an attorney, asked him to reach out and put a meeting together with Stu Leonard's. This would be an ideal situation for a grocer
but you know it's not going to happen.
of that caliber.
I appreciate him trying,
In Coram, Suffolk
but there's a homeless
County,
person right there
Liz
pushing
Burke,
a shopping
News
cart.
12.
So
And if
that's
you
what
would
you
like
have
to
in
give
that
your
area.
input on this, use the community survey.
So again, showing you this is where the Stop and Shop is, and the nearest is the King Kullen all the way in Middle Island. All right, so I guess this is still considered Middle Island, and this is the King Kullen here that's going to be closing, and yeah, this King Kullen right here. So that's going to leave. Yeah, Ridge is not going to have a supermarket either. Middle Island's not going to have a supermarket. Ridge is not going to have a supermarket. Coram is not going to have a supermarket. Meanwhile, we got all these supermarkets clustered in certain areas. Port Jefferson Station has Uncle Giuseppe's. It has ShopRite. It's got meat farms. You got two Stop and Shops within like 3 miles of each other between Rocky Point and Sound Beach. Oh, but that's because the demographics are wealthier, so they get to have supermarkets, right? This is what's going on Long Island. But this whole stretch here, is being redlined. This whole freaking thing. That's why I said they're redlining the Pine Barrens, because they really are redlining this whole area right here. Is just being just being redlined, this whole thing. Even Ridge now is getting redlined. I mean, eventually maybe this area is going to get redlined too, the Panamoka area, as well as whole stretch here, including the Pine Barrens, of course, getting redlined. I mean, this is such a depressing stretch if you've taken the 58 bus, which is so crowded now, and it's just ridiculously crowded. You go down here, and it's just so many. This is a very low-income area, and you have a lot of people that are using the bus now because things keep closing in their area, and it's going to get even worse. I think the 58 should run every half an hour. Hell, reduce the 66 to once an hour. I think the 58 needs it more, personally. But that won't happen because it's the South Shore, and we all know the South Shore is more important. Yeah, a lot of these places have closed. We look at these shopping centers here. This is all closed and abandoned for rent. All of this stuff. We've talked about all of this before. All this stuff is closing down over here. Got all these abandoned shopping centers here in this area. Everything's closing down in this area because it's dangerous. This is a real ghetto. This is a ghetto that's worse than anywhere in Nassau. That's how bad it's getting. Yeah, even worse than Hempstead, I think, at this point. This area is. It's just getting really, really bad. As the South Shore of the county prospers, this area is doing worse than ever. And what's next? They're probably going to close this Walmart down, too, eventually next, because they opened a brand new Walmart in Yaphank, and they're probably going to close this one down, too. All this stuff's abandoned. This bank here is abandoned. Here, I'll go over here to this. You see this bank is abandoned. Available. Overgrown weeds. Look at this. It's just everything is closing down here. And it's you ride the bus down here. You drive through here. You see it for yourself. It's pretty depressing. And then this shopping center too also this place I think went out already. I don't think that's in business anymore. I don't see it on the Google thing. But this shopping center also has a lot of empty stores in it. That's an old that's an old street view. Or no, it's still there. It says it's still there. So that I don't know, because that says that's a supermarket, so I don't know. They didn't list that in the story, so I don't know if that's still open or not. And then you have this, which used to be the Kmart, which they knocked down, and it's just literally just rotting away here. This is probably going to turn into Pine Barrens eventually. These pine trees are just going to take over this. But yeah, because this is an area that's being redlined. It's not... Again, middle of the island. It's one of those middle of the island areas that just get redlined. They're putting a lot of sex offenders here, a lot of illegals, criminals, all being let out of jail, being put into these areas, and including a lot of housing programs, because unfortunately people like me are grouped in with those other people, which is, again, another thing. So the King Kullen is right in this shopping center right here, and you can see this. This is also abandoned. Yeah, that's closed. Let's see what we got. We got a lot of empties here. That's an empty. And another empty over there. Once the King Kullen closes, there's going to be even more empties in this shopping center. It's going to get even worse. I mean, that's like the only supermarket in Ridge. That's ridiculous, man. That's ridiculous. But this is all part of the plan, you know. Yeah, you know, it's all part of the plan. I mean, I always thought that was considered Ridge. I guess it's considered Middle Island. But, yeah, there'll be nothing over here. Nothing at all. As it is, it's very out there, this area. There's not a lot here. And it's only going to get worse now. It's ridiculous. It really is. The people also... Well, there's also Aldi, too, which I know isn't a regular supermarket, but they have an Aldi, I think, over... No, they got a Lidl. I'm sorry, Lidl. A Lidl over here. That's just over the border in Selden. Coram is going to have nothing, so everybody's going to have to travel out of the area. So let's get to the next bad story about the Pine Barrens, because we got two bad stories. Southern pine beetle wreaking havoc on trees in Manorville. So if the Pine Barrens aren't being redlined because the demographics aren't preppy, lily-white people, they're also dealing with these southern pine beetles as well.
Thousands of dead trees in their neighborhood, but those fires sparked concerns over what could happen. News 12's Cecilia Dowd has the story.
Dead tree after dead tree. It looks almost apocalyptic in Manorville.
Thousands. Look at thousands. It's complete. As far as you can see, it's dead trees.
This, all a result of the southern pine beetle.
All of this from a bug.
And the recent fires have stoked fears about what would or could happen here. Eric Weisbard lives right near all these dead trees. He's also a local firefighter.
Everything on the ground is going to burn. Dead trees, obviously, are more dry.
That's
They're going to burn
that's
quicker.
a big fire waiting to happen.
Plus, just trying to get over all of the debris with the GI, with the stump jumper trucks that we have, just makes it so much more difficult. Like someone shot it, but it's all just holes where the bug.
Yep, those are the pitch tubes that they make, and again, this is our pine barrens being destroyed by the southern pine beetle. Like I said, not enough is being done about it. We're the only pine barrens we have of all the pitch pine barrens in the United States. Long Island has been hit by and far the hardest by these southern pine beetles. What is it about Long Island and the forests here that are causing these beetles just to go completely out of control?
Just burrows in.
So what's the solution here? Well, there is no easy one. It's very expensive to remove trees. The good news is, if caught in time...
Well, if they had more controlled burns like New Jersey did in the past, we wouldn't be going through this, as I've said a million times before. But because we haven't had the controlled burns, between that and the large amounts of development we have here, it's putting a big strain on the forests. And now it's going to cost us even more because we weren't thinking well enough to really, again, just do what New Jersey's doing. Why isn't New Jersey having these big outbreaks like we are? What are they doing differently? They're doing controlled burns is what they're doing. We do very little controlled burns. New Jersey burns, I think it's 20 to 30,000 acres of woods every year. Long Island, maybe a few hundred if at the most. That's not enough.
Trees can be treated, but that's not a likely solution for a large expanse of trees. Evan Dacko is an arborist.
When you get the large lots like we have on the East End with the pine barrens, it's not practical or making ecological sense to go there and start spraying every tree in the pine barrens.
You can't
Evan
spray
says
the
when he
trees.
first heard about the weekend fires,
I immediately thought this is a tinderbox. And just from driving around, I'd see a tremendous amount of dead trees in these areas.
Cecilia Dowd, News 12 Long
Look at
Island.
all that. That's not from a wildfire.
Congressman Nick Lalata is
That's from the southern pine beetle.
trying to address the pine beetle crisis by urging the Senate to pass the House's Fix Our Forests Act.
Fix Our Forests Act. What is the Fix Our Forests Act? What is that? Let's see. So there is a bill called Fix Our Forests Act that is establishing requirements for managing forests on federal land, but that's not federal land, including requirements concerning reducing wildfire threats, expediting the review of certain forest management projects, and implementing forest management and other activities. And again, New Jersey's done a lot of those activities, which is why they haven't been hit by these beetles as much. Now, I'm not sure exactly where they were in Manorville. They didn't say. But I'm assuming probably there was a very, very bad outbreak that has been going on east of the labs. Let's see, it might be on North Street. I'm not sure. Yeah, here we go. Look at all those trees. They're all dead. All those dead pine trees right there. So it's a tinderbox because right now you don't have any of the other trees leafed out. You have these dead trees that are just drying and getting more and more dried out. And this is just a tinderbox waiting to happen. And it's horrible to see this happening. And it's Long Island is just going through all these hard things right now, horrible things. You can even see the outbreak. It even killed some younger pines too. There were younger pines in this field, got them too, which is really unusual. Like I said, Long Island is really, well, that one's still alive for now, but the state is just moving too slowly on this. They need to move faster. We need to get those controlled burns. If we don't have the resources, then we need to. I'm sure that Governor Phil Murphy would gladly offer assistance to us if we asked. I'm sure that New Jersey State Forest Fire Service could come in here and help us out a lot. You can see there's another big outbreak over there as well. But this is what is going on, and I guess you could say it's yet another part of the plan to drive us out. All these things are because, again, the only areas that are desirable to businesses are expensive areas that people like me and almost other people, unless you're one of the chosen ones, is not going to be allowed to live in. And so you're going to deal with all these problems, and the Pine Barrens mostly are in the middle of the island, and the middle of the island, especially this 25 corridor here between Coram and Ridge in Middle Island, is just getting decimated by store closings, crime, and you know, the Pine Barrens is just getting it from both sides at this point. So yeah, it's really unfortunate. So yeah, this picture here was taken, by the way, at Rocky Point Preserve, not far from the King Kullen on the south side there, and we just don't know. What can I say? It's sad, it's depressing, it's devastating. But I have to report this to you because this is what's going on, and it's not some weird conspiracy. It's happening because how come all the South Shore areas and on the North Shore too, they get all the businesses, but in this area, because it has a lower income and more people of color, it gets to deal with all these problems. Like, come on, I know exactly what's going on. It's called racism. It's called redlining. That's what's going on. It's illegal, but they continue to do it, and I'm not going to shut up about it as long as I'm here. Thank you for watching.